Welcome back to Whitt Acres. We have been doing garden tours all season, and this will be the 8th week in a row we've been doing these garden tours, so there's a lot going on, a lot progressing in each of these gardens. We have annual flower gardens, vegetable gardens, food forest, perennial beds, and a lot of different styles of gardening going on here. I am in my 3rd year of gardening, and I'm just trying to learn how everything grows and what I like to grow, what I like to eat. So a lot of stuff is just thrown in together, but I'm trying to learn what I like, and then I can kind of consolidate and grow everything I like, which is a lot. What I'm going to do is take you around, see where the vegetables are, what kind of fruit we're getting out of the food forest, and then go to each bed and see what's blooming right now during this time of the year. Let's go. Hey pup. Starting right here off the patio, we have the rain gauge, and as you can see, things are pretty wet, so we have been getting some rain, just over 1/2 inch in the gauge over yesterday and today. We have a blue sea erygnium blooming right here, and all the different pollinators are on that. Sweat bees, honey bees, carpenter bees, flies, and moths. They're all on there all the time. The marigolds are now pushing up real nice, and you can see the veronica is just starting to, I believe that's bubblegum, it's just starting to flower. I had another veronica back here, but I think it's not getting enough sun, so it's not even budded up yet. I have a little pink zinnia sitting there, and it's starting to branch out now with more flowers. You can see the oriental lilies, they're still holding on. Got the yellow and red in here. See the cold frame, I kind of just left this thing go after the first time I sewed everything in here. But you can look back here and see I have a Globe Atlas carrot, and the carrots are still putting on. It's probably not the sweetest carrot now that it's midsummer, but still try it out. I got some radish pods on. These are actually pretty plump. You can eat these in your salads now. That's what I saved them for. Got a dahlia coming up there, but all these African daisies are filling out this area, the yellow and orange. The calla lily's still blooming, and all the Cracker Jacks marigolds, the tall ones, are starting to flower now. It was starting to be a little bit too much green in there. Portulaca has been flowering all season, which is nice. These black lilies, black memoirs, oriental lilies are nice and tall, trying to hold up from the wind. Some of them are blown over. The gazanias are doing real well. They kind of close up whenever the sun goes down and the temperature drops. They start closing back up, and it's supposed to rain again here soon, so the wind's picking up. I got the 2 calla lilies surrounding my broken pot that I have set into the bank. The calla lilies are getting eaten up by some Japanese beetles, and I have a dahlia in here. I don't remember what kind of dahlia it is. I think it's a floodlight yellow dahlia. More of the Cracker Jacks mix, moving into the French dwarf marigolds. We also have the Park's double petunias having a drift down past the bird bath there. More portulaca following along the bottom. The rain really knocked over the bunny tail grass, so it's all flopped, but it'll dry out and pop back up. We got a gladiola starting here. It looks to be a red one. And we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 8 actual bloom stalks on this gladiola. So that's a nice centerpiece right there. We got some zinnias in the back there starting to bloom all the way down around here. And then we have some wave petunias that are starting to fill in the area. A lot of color starting to happen over on this side. Hump up. The hostas are blooming as well, so we got some more color. They got eaten up a little bit, and they're a little burned from the sun, but they're blooming all the same. A new addition I threw back here is the vermillionaire. It's supposed to be loved by the hummingbirds, but we'll see. It just put it in yet last night. More zinnias on the back side here, and the lilies. They're all doing pretty well, nice and colorful. Got the wind chimes out, making some music. Following Puppy over to the pathway that we just got finished here recently. It's looking real good. Got the pomegranate yarrow still blooming over there in the corner, and it's actually putting on some fresh blooms. Come see. You can see some of these are faded, and then there's some fresh red blooms right there. I've been impressed with it. It flopped a little bit because I don't think it's getting quite enough sun, but it's still doing good in that spot. Over here we have the red columbine. It's blooming up pretty nice. Wind's really kicking up. That columbine looks pretty good in there. I'm hoping it'll start reseeding and naturalizing through there a little bit. That's the porcupine grass that Puppy's walking through, and it's starting to set some new shoots, so I think it's setting root down. The hellebores all around the bird bath and the vine, I'm gonna have to start wrangling in that vine again here soon. These calla lilies are really blooming, and I think they're looking great as a little border here. We got the hostas and the heuchera going out the drift there. The calla lilies are really looking good with this peachy yellow. I don't know, it reminds me of peach sherbet ice cream. And we got some pinks, oranges and pinks. The lilies or the zinnias are starting to bloom. Got these little steps coming in here to nothing right now. The abelia is blooming. The little firelight hydrangea is still blooming, which is nice. I ended up pulling these irises out of the Golden Globe arborvitae whenever I pruned it. They give them a little bit more sunlight so they can shine through. And I even separated some out over to here. The gladiolas are coming up. It's starting to bud on this bank here. The hostas are blooming. You can't see them from the house because of the irises blocking them. But we got the wavy red petunia, which is real full out here. The lilies are finishing up, pretty much done. And this is my bigger C. erigium I showed on the last video. And yep, still covered in pollinators. Look, there's bees on there. There's bugs I don't even recognize. So if you want something for the pollinators, this erigium, blue sea holly, that's the plant. I think this bank's still looking good. This is a full sun bank here, so we have irises, crocosmia, but here in my climate the hostas still do pretty well in full sun, so I have them out here for a mid-season bloomer like right now. I think they're all looking pretty well. And that wavy petunia volunteered there itself. I have a lily. I might get some more lilies like that out here, so I have more color this time of year. And then we're back to this end where the irises are starting to self-seed all the way through the stone, which I kind of like the look. It'll get a little out of hand if I don't manage it, but I'll move some of them out and then I'll leave some so it still has that naturalized look of self-seeding throughout here. You can see I got to run my hose through the bank here all the way to the food forest because I need to get water out there. No water out there yet. What do you think, pup? Next flower bed? I think this corner turned out really well this year. You got the hosta blooming now. The dahlia's still blooming. In the pot, I think these are super bells. They're doing really well. They never stop blooming. Got a calla lily here that's just starting to set a flower bud. And then the hibiscus in the top is doing real well. It really needed up potted this year, and I up potted into some mushroom compost, and it's loving it. Blue fescue being blue fescue. And these pots are doing pretty well, even though we had like 5 days of 100-degree weather. Tried to keep them watered, didn't even do it every day, but they're still holding on. The volunteer sunflowers are holding this little area under the tree together. Nice pops of yellow. I think it's working. We really need to get mulch down, but still haven't got around to that. Come around here, the daylilies are still blooming as the hostas are coming into bloom. I think this is starting to look pretty good. I just put this in 2 years ago. And I'm having a lot of trouble with this creeping Charlie in my grass. That it's ground ivy, but it really likes to ramble over my border and make it not look so nice. But got the purples and the oranges and the pinks out here, looking pretty good. And another reason to mulch your bed, you can see all the weeds. Doesn't even look good out here, but if you can look through the weeds, I got all my white daisies blooming, and they're all starting to put on multiple blooms, which is good to see. I ended up getting that variegated what puppy? What are you barking at? There's something in the RV. What are you barking at? Yeah, he's barking at that piece of paper flapping. Yeah. Don't worry about it, pup. This is a rainbow Lacotho, and it's variegated. So I got that planted the other day just before the rain, and I got the Latrobe PA planted in there as well, the big blue. Still have the Gara blooming up in here, the whirling butterfly, so that's all looking good. If I could get that mulched, it looked like a proper flower bed. Over here at the pergola, the variegated feather reed grass is doing very nice. I left this dark angel hydrangea go dry, I think, and it lost all its buds. So I don't know if it's gonna put on some more buds, but I got this problem with putting plants in the ground and thinking that they're all set instead of watering them for a few weeks to get them to set in. So we'll see. It might put on some more buds, another flush, if I can keep it watered. The dahlias are coming up, and the hydrangea firelight is doing pretty nice, starting to tinge pink. Got the crespo squash stretching out pretty nicely. And over here on this wall, you got the gherkins climbing up. I got this jelly melon that I keep training up here. I'm not getting any fruit off of it yet. Getting some Japanese beetles though. Well, I do want to try this fruit. It's supposed to be a spiky melon. It's a jelly melon. It's supposed to be spiky on the outside and sweet on the inside, so we'll see. But I don't even see any flowers on it yet. I got this gourd put in. If you watched my last video, I was showing you how to prune the secondaries coming off these gourds, and I accidentally chopped this one right off on the main stem. So I threw a long gourd that I had growing into that spot. I don't quite remember. I might be able to check back into the videos and see what I planted there, but I'm not getting that one this year. These gourds, I don't know what's going on here. This thing's growing like a squash. So this is a warty gourd. So I think that is a squash. That's a warty pumpkin. I got this gourd just attaching now, and I got that one all the way to the top, so now it just has to reach over and grab onto the cattle panel ceiling up there. Coming out here, we got some calendula blooming, pumpkin on a stick on the left, and I got this Maxima echinacea blooming over there. And my archway is past 12 o'clock, so it's getting there, starting to try and climb downward. So hopefully I can get that to fill out at least over the top, and I think it's looking pretty good. Volunteer sunflower. Out here on this side, we have the Bellini crepe myrtle really coming into flower now. The individual flowers have really, I don't know, they don't last long or something. Seem very wide. Yeah, it's different. There's a lot of color, and I guess it's gonna bloom for a long time, so I think I'm gonna like it there on the corner. Got a nice big volunteer sunflower in there, as well as a gourd that needs to be trellised again. So, see, I'm a little bit behind. I need to get this through the lattice so it can keep weaving itself through and holding on. And if you look down here, Japanese beetle. Nice big sunflower. Since all the ones I started but from seed, Japanese beetle. All the sunflowers I started from seed got eaten by deer, so it's nice to have some volunteers still around. Break off the secondary, let it get to the top. A new addition is this tall grass here. People call it, it's a maiden grass, miscanthus, but it's called the cosmopolitan. It's supposed to get like 8 feet tall. So I'm thinking about turning this pergola area into a jungle theme, tropical jungle theme with some big leaves and different foliages. So we'll see how that goes. I think a big grass is going to fit in well. This is the Amsonia Blue Star. I just needed a place for it, so I threw it in there next to the echinacea. And up here, my red trumpet vine is just starting to bud up and bloom. There you go. That is the buds of the trumpet vine, and it's starting to flower. This is in the front of my house along the driveway, and it is what I have for a tropical garden right now. The balloon flower is blooming, and I have some canna lilies, elephant ears, and peppers out here. They're all blooming nicely and full, but once this gets a little bit bigger, it might look a little better like a tropical garden. Over here I have some purple grape hyacinth vine, leaves of 3, let it be. That's not poison ivy though. Come up here and you can see I have it all the way to about 6 feet tall, both of these, a couple of the leaders. So I'm hoping it'll climb up this dead lilac tree and cover the whole top like an actual canopy. Over here we have some maize or field corn, volunteering up because my house is surrounded by cornfield. And I even have a datura flowering in the middle of the day. Since it's nice and rainy, it hasn't closed up completely. It's a little bit color beaten, but it's a nice big flower. It's in the moonflower family like these volunteers from last year. I'm hoping this crepe myrtle puts on some flowers. I don't know if it will. Might be too young. The mailbox is still blooming with the purple clematis. It's not as full anymore, but still looking pretty good. Got the hostas at the bottom, variegated hostas blooming now. So I still think the mailbox is looking pretty good out here in the tropical garden from this angle. Coming down the roadway here, we have the marigold line. And the daylilies out here are just starting to bloom. I did plug in some blackberry jam petunia there and some other types of colored petunias here all the way down in different spots to kind of just add a little splash of color. The castor bean's getting pretty big. Here's another petunia. And coming to the end down here, the hosta ring surrounding my Royal Empress tree that is 3 years old, planted from seed by me, and it is massive. It's doing great. It's got a nice healthy trunk for a 3-year-old tree. It's big. Big leaves as well. They actually got smaller as the tree got bigger, but these can get over 2 feet across. I have an Empress in the backyard. I might show you. It's a 32-inch leaf right now, but this one's the best structure and has the most symmetrical canopy. So hoping none of these break off in the wind. Really enjoy coming out of this path now with the blue jean baby Russian sage blooming. I have the paradise petunias blooming, the limelight hydrangeas are blooming, and coming down this side I have ranunculus, or not ranunculus, coxcomb all along the edge, which is a very bright, vibrant lime green color. The arborvitaes are all dying off. Got some type of fungal infection, but other than those, at least they got a nice border along the bottom of them. Past the last limelight hydrangea, which has a nice big panicle on top. I love these things. Huge. Is the perennial garden, which might turn into a fairy garden or a cottage style garden. So big changes going to happen to this one. Looked a little bit better before the big maple tree fell on it, but it's still blooming, still looking good. Got phlox blooming in the back. Got a nice lily here, a red zinnia, red gladiolas, red crocosmia, another red gladiola back there. There's a lot of red over here. And then I have another African daisy, not African. I have another white daisy right there and back there. And that's the liatris blooming here on the right. I have white and purple liatris. And the bees are always on it. Doesn't matter white or purple, the bees love them. And that's the white daisy. And the hollyhocks are just looking great. They're kind of dwarfed this year for being crushed, but still second year. I started these from seed as well. This is the second year and they're all blooming. So we've got a nice little colorful mix here. And they're going to keep reseeding, and I can get the seeds and keep spreading them around. I was supposed to have white and purple carnations, but it looks like I have white and red. Hopefully I still have purple in there. I bought purple. But they're also second year from seed, and they're starting to bloom this year. There's not a lot going on in this area, but I still think it looks pretty nice. One little flower, got the dogwood and the dwarf Alberta spruce, the rhododendron in the back and a lilac in the back, as well as a Austrian pine. But I think it looks pretty simple, and I love how that little one flower came up. Right beside the ramp we have what I call the ramp bed, and the crazy bubblegum petunias are filling it out fully. I did a first cut on my snapdragons and they're all flushing back with blooms, looking fairly good. I got a marigold, jaguar marigold filling out in the front, and then I plugged in some first year snapdragons of different colors, pink and yellow, and then a nice little pink and yellow back there. And the calla lilies are still blooming. So this bed's looking pretty full as the hostas start blooming as well. And I like it. The daylily's still blooming as well. And I even have a lavender tucked in back here that the bees enjoy. It is gladiola season, and they are a-flopping. Got some reds, whites, and yellows over here, and they're getting pretty tall. They did overwinter in this makeshift little bed I have up against the patio. The poppies seem to be pretty much done, but my jungle queen is climbing up the Durwall channel trellis we have. I don't have one for this side yet, but I'll have to get one over there. These gladiolas though are looking pretty good. Now I'm going to take you down to where I have my vegetable garden and show you what's growing on. Up. We got the little pollinator patch out here with the lilies in here, the butterfly bush, and then I have a tree elephant ear that's starting to put on some size. There's zinnias and cosmos speckled in here that are just getting their roots settled in. They should be blooming here soon. And then the garden this time of year. Do a full overview. The asparagus is in full berry, starting to drop some berries. Got another volunteer sunflower back there. Coming into the in-ground garden first, I have two large marigolds that seem to be needing some staking because they're actually falling over now in the wind. The zucchini, second succession, starting to put on some crop already. I've already got a few zucchini off of this one, and it looks like there's another one started. I got a nice large yellow squash the other day, and it looks like I have more started on here as well. I don't need a lot, I guess. I only need maybe 2 a week, and that'll definitely produce 2 a week. Calendula's in full bloom, bringing in all the pollinators and trapping all the aphids. I got some flowers on my she-cow eggplant. I've never grown eggplant before, so I really don't know how to grow it, but I got it in 2 main stalks here, and I'm trying to train it over to my tomato trellis, but it just wants to hold up and stand up on its own. If you look here, I already harvested a few cucumbers. This is looking pretty sad over here. You can see it's kind of wilting. It's a little hot for it. I got a few more cucumbers on there. Little ones started. So that is the straight 8 cucumber. I did get a cucumber off of there that was pretty bitter, so I don't know if I need to get more consistent with my watering or harvest in the morning or something, but yeah, last cucumber off of there was not too good. I'm just weaving my tomatoes through this 5-inch wire panel, and that seems to hold them up pretty well. I've been doing that for the 2nd year now. It's not an actual cattle panel, it's just a, I don't even know, some wire panel we had laying around. Here's some Brad's Atomic Grape, which I don't know, I've never grown this before, but I have like big saladette size ones, and then I have like San Marzano style ones, skinny and tapered. So yeah, they're same Brad's Atomic Grape seeds, but some are just different, round or tapered. I didn't get enough yet to see if they taste right, but or if they taste the same. But I do have some marigolds and some more calendula. The garden's looking pretty good right now, I think. I'm not getting a lot of harvest, but I can feel like I'm right on the edge of a big harvest. But what I did get the harvest of was some cabbage. This morning I came in here and harvested 4 of these Danish cabbages and 2 of the Copenhagen market cabbages. Yeah, that's right. As you can see, they are starting to split open and the bugs are getting in there. You can see that. Can you see in there? Just rip that leaf out maybe. You can look in here and see there's slug poop, little like beads. There's slug poop in there, so they're eating my cabbages. I harvested, how many did I say? 6, and I have 24 pounds of cabbage out of those 6 so far. I'm going to try and make a big crock full of sauerkraut with it. We'll see how that goes. Might make a video, might not. I got all the outer leaves of the cabbage sitting here. I just did it this morning, and they're going to the compost. My pumpkin over there is looking okay. I started burying the vine at the different node points, so hopefully it's going to start setting some more root. You can see I have the node points buried with some compost, sifted compost. So hopefully it starts doing a little better. I cut some of the dead leaves out of there. I got hit by the poison from the cornfield getting sprayed. Good boy, Pop. Here at the square foot garden, I got most of my greens ripped out of here because they turned bitter from going to bolt. Pruned my kale way back to see if it'll come back. And then I have a carrot going to flower right here. I'm just leaving it go because I've never grown a carrot to go to flower, so might as well do it. And then if you look here, I have a gorgeous batch of onions. Look at all those purdies. One of them snapped its neck, kinked it, so I had to harvest that one, but that's fine, we had it for dinner. And a lot of these other ones are getting pretty nice size. Half of them, I'd say, are probably baseball size or better, but hey, that's the best I've ever done with onions, so I'm happy with the square foot gardening style on onions. Over here, I've been getting some of the ground cherries off of those plants. I probably got a handful, enough for maybe one salad, so I'm going to try those out tomorrow in a salad. And then I have Ace 55 cherry tomatoes growing in here, and they're green, but they're not ripe yet, so I gotta leave them go. A lot of yellow pear tomatoes that are also green, still waiting on those. I got some succession sown lettuce. This is Black Simpson and Tango Leaf coming up, so I should be getting some fresh salad mix real soon. I've been getting plenty of roots, radishes, and turnips. You can see in here that I have some turnips that I could probably harvest. I don't know how big you really want to get your turnips, but I heard they don't get real woody too quick like maybe a radish would. And I have some radishes that I could probably be harvesting as well. I also have another batch of onions out here, and they're bulbing up quite nicely as well, a little bit further behind because I planted them out here a little bit later, but they're bulbing up nicely still. The watermelon patch is just getting weedier and weedier. The Japanese beetles in there. Hey butterfly. Got a butterfly, monarch butterfly fluttering around through here. I have some sunflowers coming up here, but if I take you on the inside of the squash mound, let me get over this fence here. Got some marrows coming on, and I know we got some gourds coming on here. Oh yeah, got some little fist gourds coming on there. White one back there, and I don't know if this just needs water or the bugs are getting to it, but the leaves are kind of dying back over here. I have a rotten gourd. Whoa, slipped. Just rained out here, so it's wet. I got a rotten gourd, a couple rotten gourds on this one. Yeah, there's actually a couple in there. So I don't actually put a lot of effort into these gourds once I put them in the pumpkins. These are just for decoration. I'm not trying to eat any of these. But there's some little pumpkins coming on out here. I just kind of water them whenever the summer gets a little bit too hot and dry. And I come out here and check on them. I'll probably spray them with some neem oil. Back up. Try and keep the dogs out so they don't step on them. But if we come in here, we can see we're still getting some results. Oh, these pumpkins. Got some pumpkins back in here. Got some more coming on there. Puppy, what are you doing in here? Out. They're really reaching out into the yard as well. And this is the big one I keep seeing whenever I take walks. The big old pumpkin. I think that's a pumpkin. It might be a marrow, but I think this is in my pumpkin side. Thought I saw some more in here, but there's some starting with some female flowers on there. And if you come out here to my Dill's Atlantic backups, you can see they're struggling. This one is completely dying back. Not sure if a bug got to it, but it looks like vine borer because all the leaves are down. It's just not getting any nutrients anymore. I guess one's completely dead, that's for sure. And this one's not looking healthy at all. It's a shame. No backup there. But it might have rooted, because pumpkins don't need the original root. If this rooted into the ground at any one of the node points, then the rest of the plant can keep growing like nothing happened. Hoping this one will survive, because I need a backup, at least to get some more pumpkins for decoration, because this one definitely did not. This is my Big Max pumpkin, and I think it's done. It's still trying, but it looks like it's done. It actually got more water than the rest just to try and keep it alive, but I'm pretty sure the bugs got to it. Even with the dead pumpkin plants, the squash mound's still looking decently full. Hopefully I'll still get a good amount of decorations out of this, because it is probably 100 squash plants going down this mound. I've planted at least 150 out into the whole property and landscape, including this mound, so I'm really trying to increase my odds. The garden's looking pretty good, and it might have to get expanded next year to fit everything in it that I want to grow. Let's take you up to the food forest and finish up there. Pup's gonna take a dip in our little test pond that we dug to try and see if our ground will hold water. And it's holding water, because Puppy still gets to go over there and cool down. I got it kind of mowed out to the shape of the pond I want, but we're gonna see how it goes. Hopefully dig that here in the fall, so the dogs can have somewhere to get a drink, and I'll have a new place to plant around. Out here in the food forest, we have a lot growing and not a lot getting harvested. We have some blackberries on here that are just starting to ripen up. I have been getting a handful of blueberries, which are over here. Oh, that's where I left my drink. They're warm now in the sun. But I have been getting a handful of blueberries. See, I got them picked, all the ones that are ripe. And there's still a couple handfuls left, so it's not a big harvest, but at least I get a couple handfuls as I walk through. Haven't been getting any peppers yet, but I haven't been looking either. Look at this fella. That is a little dark pepper. These are mixed bell peppers over here, and that one was ready. These ones are all green yet, but plants are small, and I'm getting kind of just tiny peppers, trying to harvest them so they can keep growing instead of trying to put all their energy into their first pepper. But hey, that's nice to get a couple peppers for dinner tonight. I'll take it. Got a replacement pomegranate tree put in, and fell prey to putting it in the ground and thinking my job was done, so it didn't get that much water. Started turning yellow before I noticed and started to water it again. Hot peppers over here I think are a little bit further behind, but if I look in here past the weeds, we got viola coming up real bad in here. Jeez. Oh, it's really rooted in with my pepper. I'm gonna have to leave it. But there, that's a hot pepper. Looks like a cayenne. So we're still getting peppers out here, and weeds, more weeds. And I plugged in a peony that I got from my grandpaps right there on the corner, just for some early color. Calendula's working, bringing in those aphids, trapping them. Haven't got any big slicer tomatoes yet, still waiting on any of those to ripen up. But if I come down here to my California bell peppers, we have some growing on here and some getting big. Those ones aren't ready yet. All you do is peppers, most of them, you can just lift them up, and if they snap off, they're ready. If they don't, leave them go. Don't be forceful, just lift them up, and see, it just pops right off. They're little plants, so they're putting off little peppers right now, so you want to pick them so they can get bigger and put off bigger peppers. So there's a couple of these are the poblanos, and they're really small, so they're not ready yet. Hey puppy, how you doing? I had to throw that pipe out of my food forest because puppy was chasing chipmunks thinking they were in there. He was laying in there and he's sniffing for chipmunks, stepping on my okra and sniffing up into my potatoes, which a lot of those are starting to flower. I don't know what's going on. Maybe it just fell off. But yeah, a lot of these are starting to flower, so I might be able to reach in there and get some baby potatoes here soon. I've also been getting handfuls of currants. These are my 2 currant bushes. And currently nothing's ripe on them yet. I've been getting handfuls of the currants every other day or so, so I'll just let those keep ripening and I'll be able to harvest a few tomorrow. Right behind me I have my sweet potato vine patch, and a lot of them did fizzle up and die, but it looks like some of them have taken some root, and I might be able to get a sweet potato or 2 this year, which will have to be good enough for this year. Strawberry bed is still producing fruit. It's trying to, at least. The birds have been going right through this bird netting and getting my crop before I get to it. See, bird damage. So I don't know how effective that bird netting is, but looks like it's not. I also think I put that zucchini and these beans in a little bit too much shade from this maple tree above me, because I'm just not getting very good results. Plus I think a chipmunk got to this zucchini as well, so I need to take some snips, cut that off, because that one is gross. Over on this side I have a lot of tomatoes planted, and they could be doing better if I would consistently water out here, but there's too much out here to be watering, so I just go ahead and I started them off as well as I can by fertilizing in the hole as I planted them and giving them about 6 inches of compost that I planted them in, no dig. And then I put all the wood chips around it, try and hold the moisture in as long as they can. I got some bees out here pollinating my tomatoes. These are the tomatoes I'm letting ramble like they naturally do, so you can see how bushy they get and they just start falling over and re-rooting. Right here I noticed that I have an azalea blooming, which is a very late blooming azalea. I'm not sure why it's blooming, but it's nice to have a succession of blooms, because that one bloomed first, it was purple, and then this one bloomed, I think it was white, and then that one bloomed for a long time as pink, and now this little whitish yellow one is blooming for now. So nice succession of azaleas blooming. I am just a week or 2 away from getting a lot of production out of my plants. I got plenty of green tomatoes started all the way down the line, but not getting a lot of ripe ones. The blueberries seem to be ripening up here soon. Not sure why this one's not tucked in. I'll tuck this one into bed here. Sorry about that. Had to stand that one up through the Florida weave method. They're getting heavy and falling over like this one is. I'll get that one later. The blueberries are ripening up now. Well, not quite. Maybe one. Nope, not quite ready yet. Still a little firm, and they're still holding on to the stem pretty well. Over on the other side of this entrance, I have some early girl tomatoes, and this one is just starting to blush. You can see how it's changing color, starting to turn a little bit towards the red family. Yellow, then red. But that's good to see. I might have a small slicer here real soon. That's all for this week's garden tour. Just showing what's blooming at this time so I can really see how things grow and where to put things for next year. If you like what you see, go ahead and hit that like button, share the video, and if you want to leave a comment down below, go ahead and I will try and answer that as soon as I can. I will be posting a video weekly during the garden season here. Get a scratch pop. And if you want to see how this garden progresses through the season, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you'll be notified whenever I post a new video. I will be also putting up project videos and harvest videos as I go along and when I can. So be a lookout for those. Thanks for watching. You can find me and Echo on the next one.